Hello, Content Coalition family. This episode was so much fun to film. I pretty much almost broke my neck. We were at Traffic and Conversion, and Alban brought over a really cool, unowheel surf skateboard thing. I attempted to ride it. It was a little ridiculous, but we had a blast. Aside from the madness, we did talk about some really awesome stuff. So Alban is the marketing guy over at Buzzsprout. And at about 5 minutes, he talks about how to build your network and business while also creating evergreen content. Then at about 8 minutes and 45 seconds, he talks about how you can make $1 an episode from each of your listeners. And granted, everybody's not going to do it, but you'd be surprised at the results that you can get on a little bit of an ask for the content you're creating. And then at 13 minutes, he talks about the 10 dream people that you can have in your podcast and how you can actually get them on and pitch them. Dreams aren't just for dreaming, folks. They are for coming true sometimes. But anyway, I hope you guys love this episode. We had so much fun filming it. We're going to do a little video with outtakes and enjoy. I'm Shayna. I love dogs, I trip a lot, and I happen to have a knack for making pretty sweet videos for businesses. But the more videos we made, the more questions I got about how video and other content can be leveraged to make a bigger impact in their marketing. I mean, 44% of marketers say that producing content is their biggest challenge, yet content marketing is 62% less expensive than outbound and produces 3 times more leads. Now, I know a lot, but I certainly don't know it all, so I made it my mission to talk with content kings, queens, and bosses to learn as much as I could about crushing content marketing, and I'm taking you along with me. Welcome to the Content Coalition. Awesome. So we've got Alban here today at Traffic and Conversion. Thank you so much for rolling in. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Sure. I'm Alban. I'm the head of marketing for Buzzsprout. We're a podcast hosting, promotion, and analytics platform.
Awesome.
Basically, we help people get podcasts online.
Where are you from?
I'm a Jacksonville person. I'm from Florida.
Yeah.
But yeah, from Texas originally.
Awesome. Very cool. So what brings you to Traffic and Conversion?
We're here doing the podcast booth, so we're helping people, record episodes while they're here. So we set up a sound booth, and that's how we met.
Heck yeah, right on. Okay, so tell us about the company then.
Sure. So Buzzsprout started 2008 as a way to help churches get online. We were helping churches start websites, and a lot of them were like, "Hey, we've got all this sermon content we want to get online." And we kind of were like, "Man, these podcast things are kind of starting to pick up."
Yeah.
So we started a separate product. And that's what Buzzsprout is now. So we're doing it for about 10 years and have some of the original customers still with us, but now we've branched out pretty far beyond churches.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, so we're just gonna dive right into it then. I know we were kind of talking about what we wanted to chat about on the episode, and I think that one of the interesting things is what are some mistakes that current podcasters are making or, that they don't wanna make before they make them?
Sure. So 2 I see a lot, and these I think almost feel like cliche to us because they're so common. 1 is people who are like, I'm starting a podcast, I have no idea what to do. And they kind of get in love with the medium. They're like, man, I'd love to just chat and talk to people, which is cool.
Yeah.
But you've got to have some content you're excited about. There's a lot of podcasts out there of 2 bros talking. They're like, oh man, what video game did you play this weekend? What beer did you chug? And they're not picking up too much. But the thing that you can do it's cool is if you have some content you're really excited about. So I met a woman today who runs a group for moms whose kids are going through addiction issues.
Oh man.
And it's super focused, and there's probably only a couple, million people in the world that deal with this.
Sure.
And she's speaking right to them. So if you've got something you're passionate about, start a podcast, but don't fall too much in love with the medium until you have an idea of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then the second one is, there's a lot of stuff out there. People get hung up on the tech.
Yeah.
So they think what's the perfect mic? How do I do a soundproof room? I say just start. Record it on your phone, grab a quick little mic, and throw out 10 episodes. And if people are picking it up and you're like, man, I've got a couple hundred downloads, it's not just my mom and dad listening to this stuff.
Right.
Then you can go, as long as people are there for the content, now look into how to edit and how to get a production company and things behind you.
Yeah, so it's the quality of the content before the quality of the tech, the voice.
Absolutely. People are listening to your show because they want to hear someone who's like them talk about something they're interested in.
Yeah.
They're not looking for the perfect crisp audio.
And like the perfect crisp audio, but you're talking about bros chugging beer. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be, that's like I'd be that audience. But yeah, okay, cool. So then, because you guys are, a podcast company, let's just talk about like, what are the benefits? Some of the benefits of podcasting.
So one nice things about podcasting that are different, it's going to be delivered directly to people. So, you could be going to the gym and I can pull up my phone and I've got 15 podcasts I'm subscribed to. And I go, oh, cool, this one just launched a new episode. This one is about the Supreme Court's recent cases. Oh, they just launched an episode.
Yeah.
And I can be working out and listen to it. Or I can be in the car. It's kind of anywhere on demand content, which is really nice.
Sure. So I know we talked a little bit about like the ways to monetize and how that you can turn that into something that's either a business or something that benefits your current business.
Yeah, so the benefits to the person actually creating the podcast, I think of it as two ways for marketing. You've got one, which is you're building great content. So it's kind of a content creation.
Right.
And you're getting good stuff out there for people and they're listening to it and they're loving it. That can end up becoming like a lead gen thing. So if you sell maybe a course or you're doing a Patreon account or something, it can lead into that.
Gotcha.
And then the second thing is influencer marketing. And so if you want to reach out to people who are in your space that are pretty big, you may not be able to get them on the phone, but you can easily get them for a podcast interview.
Right.
So you'd be shocked, even if you haven't launched, you can reach out to somebody and say, hey, can I do 45 minutes with you for a podcast? I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
And that relationship can actually be the most important piece of what you get out of the podcast.
Right.
You're also doing stuff for your audience, but there's a bit of it that's selfish. And now I've gotten to connect with some of my heroes in this space and I can kind of pick their brain. And it's not salesy. It's not like, you're begging to do something because you're providing real value to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we were talking about before, like they're really talking about themselves. Like you're learning about them, you're getting value out of them, and then they don't feel like you've sold them or pitched them the whole time. So it's like a win-win for everybody.
And you haven't pitched them because all they've heard from you the last hour is like you talking about yourself and them talking about themselves.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, this is a genuine person I had a nice connection with.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was the app that you were talking about?
The Patreon?
Patreon, what is that?
Yeah, so there's a few ways we recommend people to monetize podcasts.
Okay.
You've got a lot of people who think they're gonna land like a CPG. Oh, Tide's gonna wanna do my podcast. You've got to have millions of listeners.
Right.
But the benefit of podcasts is you can focus in on something. We met a guy, he has a whole network of horse shows. And that's all he does. He talks about horses, people who own horses, people who train them and race them and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And because he's so focused, he can reach out to people who sell different types of saddles and feed and different bits. And they're all like, man, I had no other way I can reach such a targeted audience.
Right, yeah.
Except for your podcasts. And so don't think broad, like I'm going to land Coca-Cola, who needs to be in front of millions of people. Think about, I'm talking about something really specific. So I listened to a Supreme Court podcast. All they talk about is, well, if you're a lawyer, here's some legal software you should be using. And 90% of us listening are going, oh yeah, that lands perfect with me. That's a great product for me.
Right.
So kind of focusing in. 2 is going to be lead gen for yourself. So running something like a Patreon account, which is people can be your patron and they can say, hey, every episode you put out, automatically take $1 from my credit card.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you'd be surprised. You can get, a lot of people do around 2% of their listeners will actually on their own go for content that's free and say, I want to support you. I want to be your patron.
Yeah.
And I'm going to support you $1 an episode. And so there's quite a few podcasters, they're making a living off of this. Wow. Because they've built up a listenership that loves their specific type of content.
Yeah, and for somebody who hasn't podcasted, this is my first podcast, video podcast, and to hear that people just listening are going to be like, sure, I'll support that. That's humbling almost. That's really a huge deal,
And yeah, if you're producing something that they're not going to find anywhere else, it couldn't be on TV. You couldn't have NPR's never going to launch a horse show. They're never going to launch a show on half of this stuff because there's no one who's going to listen to it.
Right.
But it can work on a podcast because if there's 5,000 people in the United States that are into your thing, they could become your biggest fans. And if they're all throwing you $1 an episode, you've got a nice career there.
Right. That adds up really fast.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. What podcast are you listening to right now?
Do you want me to pull out?
Sure, let's see the list. Let's hear it. You said you had like 15 on a rotation, so let's hear it. We'll rapid fire it.
All right, I've met a guy last night. He does one called Drinking Buddies with a Politics Problem, where they,
sounds right up my alley. I love that.
I've got a cryptocurrency podcast.
Which one?
Called Coin Talk.
Do you know Bad Crypto?
No.
Go to the Bad Crypto podcast. They're awesome. They're super good.
I listen to Exponent, which is tech business analysis. First Mondays, Supreme Court, Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Pod Save America, it's political. Waking Up with Sam Harris, kind of just interviewing people who put out books, and he's a neuroscientist. So you can find all sorts of stuff. You're like,
you have a bunch of random stuff in there.
Yeah.
Neuroscientists, guys drinking with politic problems. That's pretty, it's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and it's fun because you can find things that you would not be able to find anywhere else.
That's exciting. And I think that's one of the things that deters people. They're like, oh, my audience isn't going to be big enough. No, I think you will be shocked by how many people are into the same thing you're into.
Right. I've found podcasts that were only about a specific book two guys were really into, and they're picking it apart and discussing themes in a book. And you could think there's maybe only a couple thousand people have read this book, but if people are really into it, they probably are looking for content like this.
Yeah, for sure. I can't remember if it was the Tim Ferriss show or if it was John Lee Dumas, but I remember they were talking about like niching so hard. This woman had a podcast that it was only about like doing natural childbirth in Australia. Like that was it. And she was like blowing up after the first 6 months. So you can niche really hard on these topics.
And if you think about how far down a business can be, so Jacksonville's got 1 million people.
Right.
But you can find there's probably 10 natural childbirth people there.
Right.
Well, if there's enough people who are interested in it, that 10 people can have a whole career doing that in my one city.
Yeah.
Think about all the people who are in Florida, in the United States,
Yeah.
who are like, I want to know about this. Where can I find good content?
Yeah.
And they find a podcast and they're like, now I can listen weekly throughout my pregnancy and feel comfortable with the ideas and learn all the stuff.
Exactly. It's smart. We just scared off like a whole group of grown men. Did you see that? They were behind you, but when they came in, they were like, oh, and then they turned around and walked away like quietly. And it was adorable. But no, you're totally right. Like I think that the more specific a situation, there's somebody else going through it. Probably lots of other people going through it or interested in it. So, so what are two actionable items? We have two different groups of people, right?
Okay.
Somebody who is already podcasting for themselves.
Yeah.
They love it. They know that they can do better or they can crush it. What's one thing they can do in the next 24 hours that is actionable?
I'd say be bold. If you're going to do interviews, be bold about who you want to go after. Everyone wants to think, oh, I'm going to interview my buddy because he's someone I can get on the show. Go for people who you would never email. So write down, this is my actionable item.
Yeah.
Go write down 10 people. Right now, these would be the 10 perfect podcast guests. If I had these 10, it would be worth it for me because I spoke to these people.
Yeah.
And reach out to them.
Do you know, have you heard of anybody having a really successful way that they reach out?
Sure. I think trying to create some sort of connection, maybe discussing them on your show, if they put out a book or they're putting out a podcast or music, discussing it.
Yeah.
And then maybe reaching out to them saying, hey, I talked about you on this episode and my audience really responded well, is a way for you to validate whether or not they like this content. And then you say, and I'd love to get you on the show.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. I think don't be intimidated by your own download numbers to start.
Yeah.
You can get people who are pretty big names without the show really being launched.
Yeah.
Say, we're putting a lot behind this, we want you on the show, and it kind of can be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
For sure. That's awesome.
So if you want to get in front of a bunch of podcast listeners, this is kind of a podcast growth hack. It's not really a hack because it's everyone could do it and it would work. There's a really cool app called Overcast, and I'm a huge fan of the guy who developed it, and it's probably the second largest podcast app on iOS.
Yeah.
And you can advertise to podcast listeners inside the app for your show.
Really?
And it ends up being about like $1 a subscriber. And if you think you're just launching and it's really good stuff, going from 0 to 100 is a lot harder than getting another 100 later on.
Yeah.
Put a couple $100 behind it, get a couple hundred people listening to it, and then they can give you feedback, give you reviews, and you can really start getting the ball rolling pretty quickly.
That's super awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. Very cool. Okay, so how about then for the people who, like, you know, your digital marketers who are working for a bigger business, they know they need to be doing this. They're well aware, but they're trying to figure out how it's going to benefit their business, or, you know, they're kind of hesitating on pulling the trigger.
Right.
What do you have that's an action item for them?
If you want to start, figure out something that you're excited to do. It may not have to be a passion, but something you're already working on. So if you're already thinking about, I do tons of content marketing. Well, let's start a content marketing thing. Let's do a podcast on content marketing. Let's talk about all the tips. Let's talk about things you're seeing in the industry.
Right.
Bring in guests who are really killing that industry and talk to them. So it now isn't something that you're going, oh, I've got to go research for 4 hours to do the show.
Right, yeah.
I'm already doing this all day, every day.
Yeah.
And this can now supplement my job. It can make my job easier, and I'm putting out a great piece of content in addition.
Awesome. Perfect. Was there any other I mean, you've dropped awesome knowledge in this entire episode. So is there anything else that you feel like you want to share before we sign off?
I'd say don't let anyone make it too complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are into the coaching space and will walk you through the whole process. It's not as hard as people kind of make it out to be.
Yeah.
You know, you can do it. There's quite a few people that are just kind of like, yeah, this is my second career. I retired and I want to get into it. If they can do it and build a following, you can do it too.
Totally. Love that. So if they can do it, you can do it. We'll high five on that one. All right. Woo. All right, cool. So thank you guys very much for watching. How do people get a hold of you or of the company?
Company is buzzsprout.com. So you can come if you want to start a podcast, you can come to Buzzsprout. We're at Buzzsprout on the web, and I'm at Alban Brooke everywhere.
Alban Brooke everywhere. Not Alban Brooke everywhere. Alban Brooke.
Alban Brooke at all the websites.
Anywhere you would like to look. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Content Coalition. Now, whether you're listening or watching, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and to whatever platform you're listening to it on, because you're not going to want to miss out on the incredible things that I'm learning with these amazing content marketing pros. So make sure you subscribe, and we will talk to you next week.